Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Dignitas Fortnite Community Tournament alongside XP League of Franklin, Tennessee. My name is TJ. I will be your solo host for the night. And for those of you who have been following this string of tournaments, you might recognize my voice from the $2,000 Duo Cup that happened not too long ago. And without further ado, again, it is a pleasure to welcome everybody back to what should be another thrilling cup. It is a Trios Cup, adjusting the format, and as I say that, it is an $1,000 cup as well. Now granted, as you will obviously see, we will be dealing with some slight issues here and there regarding some slight small glitches here and there because it is a replay file, so please do bear with us as we roll with it. But we actually are going to have some game footage to watch. We're going to have a lot of very big names to follow. I mean, look at Higgs and Oliver representing Dignitas alongside Liam all together here. This is a tournament that always draws semi-pros and pros and scholastic pros. We're talking about middle school and high school and college kids playing for their schools and going up against some of the best here tonight. And again, it is such an honor to welcome you all here tonight. So we are going to follow and kind of hop around many different teams. I know there's a lot of you in chat who really want to hear about your team or want to make sure that your team gets watched, and I promise you that we have 6 maps today, so I'm going to do everything possible to try and follow as many different POVs as I can. But as I say that, already watching to see if a team might be walking into a trap of some sort. That's a Twisted Minds player over there, or at least a player representing the Twisted Tag. There's so many players playing tonight that's very hard to keep track. I believe by my memory, we were looking at almost 10 lobbies of 96 or 99 players. So we're talking about close to 1,000 players when it's all said and done. And I'll go back and I'll do the math once we get through this first map. Still got a lot of time between this qualifier and what's left. But as I say that, following Kiffy and Drastic alongside their teammate DG, who's all of a sudden getting pinned between a few different trios here. Kuro will actually try to make a move and try and get in here early, but as I say that, it's going to be Oliver And his squad will try and find a way into this one early, as once again, don't mind the replay bug here and there. That right there should do the trick, as we'll try and get a better view of what's going on in this match, or on this fight specifically. And as I say that, again, the replay file doesn't want to work with us too commonly. So we will just enjoy the gameplay feed for now. But you watched Higgs and Oliver really do a number. They've gotten 4 eliminations to their names already and look to be a potential clear favorite in this lobby, but still plenty of players left to go. We're talking about 66 still to go through. They are going to decide to at least back off temporarily off this next fight. We'll talk a lot about the map pool, or not the map pool, the item pool, excuse me. We'll talk a lot about some of the changes from the Duo Cup to now with the Trios Cup. Also, a happy early July 4th to everyone as well. I mean, how many people get to sit down and compete for a few $1,000s on July 3rd and then get to play in the finals after your July 4th festivities? I mean, hopefully no hot dog eating competition competitors. I cannot imagine trying to play Fortnite and really focus on some of the best on a full stomach, but we are going to be full tonight with the amount of action that we're going to see as we're watching Higgs really try and take space and get a few shots on the Moby here. Is just stuck in the air and needs to be hit for one more, and will be exactly that. Higgs will demonstrate some of the new movement tech this season with, again, some of these lovely items. Moby does not stand a chance. The elimination tally goes up to 5. Worth mentioning as well from the Duo Cup, Higgs actually played with Clicks and Oliver, if my memory is correct. As the audio is going to fade out for just a second, don't mind that. Oliver placed in 16th in the Duos Cup with Cooper, whereas Higgs and Clicks had a decent showing, but it really started to fall apart for them towards the end, as they were one of the favorites in the top 3 through their qualifiers, and then, or not their qualifiers, the first few matches of the final, excuse me. But then they ended up in 11th with some pretty tough last games. So a little bit of a squad change, also bringing Liam into the fray as well. A lot to talk about in this first lobby. As you can see in the top left, many different faces going down, as well as Sid will take down Stark. Meanwhile, Stoke and Slugger, and do they have any idea? There's a player behind them. Higgs will absolutely destroy Slugger immediately. And just runs through, really just runs into a rotating team, and you'll take the 6th elimination for the team. I mean, just full room to do as he pleased, and you will absolutely take it if you're Oliver Liam Higgs. However, not out of the woods just yet, as there is a squad with a long line of sight up top here. It's going to be Cali, Expo, and King. Not sure if they're aware of who that trio might be. We're potentially looking at some favorites here if things continue, but even though your positioning is good, no kills here for Cali, King, or Expo. You can also catch a lot of these players on Twitch, as there is a Unite tournament link that many of you might be able to see if you're in the Dignitas Fortnite Discord. From that link, you'll be able to follow any of the player POVs who are streaming, but here on the watch party, once again, my name is DJ TJ here in XP League Franklin. XPL Franklin is a Twitch link, and we're going to try and follow as many POVs and as many situations and upsets, and Lord knows what's in front of us tonight. Getting really dicey here in Sinister Strip. I'm really curious to see what Higgs, Oliver, and Liam are planning to do. So in the meantime, we are going to hop around. We'll come back to them. But we'll see if there's any other squads who may be finding their way into some late-game pushers, or even some late-game slow plays, like with Commander Evolved and Cole here, who are going to take their sweet time out into the storm. However, there is a duo between Pickle and Scars who might just potentially get to hear him. We'll see if they recognize first, or if they even decide to make a move. I mean, surely these players will hear. And we'll see what Cole and their trio decides to do. They do spot Scars, and they'll try and track him down. Scars immediately takes almost full shield. Actually does take full shield. Trying to hold on to any white possible, but only so much you can do with 3 separate players pushing simultaneously. You can't guard every angle at once. Scars finally goes down. Looking to find that last player and eliminate the entire squad, but Pickleman just barely gets out and will keep the squad alive for the extra points. So big elimination for them there. We'll continue to hop around and see what other POVs or players we can check on. Senju, Jaden, and Twin are between a few squads. As now, obviously, with the new circle, we'll see a lot of rotations here. Got to be careful. Don't want to get hit. And as I say that, Twin actually doesn't decide to shoot at all. They'll go ahead and they'll take space here in Sinister. And now, just like that, got a lot of squads stuck in Sinister. Here on this low side. Some recognizable faces. We saw Reaper in the last event as Oliver, Liam, and Higgs have all of a sudden found their way up on the vertical side of Sinister here and battling for the best angle in the game right now. Best angle in the map. Best angle in this current lobby, I do mean. But regardless, a lot of opportunity to make something happen here. Oliver looking for his first elimination as well. Damage threshold will come up inactive. Callie does go down immediately, so that'll be the moment to push. Liam, a player we did not get to see in the last event. Doesn't need to make a name for himself, but at least here on this stream, a newcomer. I know many faces will recognize them, but Higgs and Liam together are unstoppable. And Higgs as well, picking up 2. 9 total eliminations as they'll take the most vertical point here in Sinister. We'll hop back around towards some of these other squads to see what they're doing. Not far from them. Lima, Santos, Isaiah. In a spot to take a few shots, but nothing too dire as we hop on over. Puppy, Blitzy, and Villain. Not far from Volt, who I believe is running away to join the rest of their team. It does seem to do exactly that. There is a player you can see in the map just right around these two. Villain does go down, but not before Dark will be traded out. Dark is going to be eliminated potentially, but Villain and Puppy both are going to be full eliminated alongside Blitzy, and just like that, a turn of events for Marcy, who saves their teammate. Well, you will take any trade you can get, especially when you lose the first pick in a team fight. Huge from those there, as we'll hop back over towards Sinister and see all of these squads slowly start to make their way over. Higgs, Oliver, and Liam will take a low side. However, they're going to run into Senju and his duo, or trio, excuse me. And as I say that, immediately does go down. We'll still have Twin and Jaden in the game, but Crispy will take him down immediately. And as I say that, 3v2 from a semi-awkward angle, but should be a-okay. Jax tried to take a little bit of space, and we'll get to heal up in the meantime, but only so much available. I mean, look at this map with the way it stands. There is absolute chaos going on here towards the far side. And again, one more look. We're actually in the middle, excuse me, now above Sinister. 46 players left. The Duo Cup always had action here and always had tens and tens of players in the final zone, but in trios it gets a little harder to take out a full squad and to really guarantee an elimination. Pickleman tries to escape another potential elimination, and even through the glitched replay, does get away alive. As Oliver, Liam, and Higgs have found a lot more eliminations now. We went from seeing them at 9 to now standing at 11. Every extra elimination is just another huge point on the tally, and you'll take it here in lucky number 12. As Stoke goes down. As they heal up, we'll hop around to some of these other squads. We'll see Commander evolved and Cole once again. Nobody exactly close enough to put too much pressure on. A lot of squads, again, always trying to play for the longevity of the game. You've still got a few more circles as well, as we're only on number 7 here in map 1. Player did try to get out. It was Ma, who had no chance, was immediately taken down. Might be able to get revived by a teammate on the far side there, but in the meantime, both evolved, Cole and Commander, or all three, are trying to find something onto that lower red squad, but not able to find it. One thing I will add as well, that for anybody who has not been watching competitive Fortnite in a while, you'll notice that the hunting rifle is back in the item pool since the last time that we ran a tournament alongside DIGNITAS. And I will say personally, I'm very much looking forward to see these shots up in the air, but won't be able to use it just yet as you're already being attacked from above. Commander, however, is able to find a vertical. Finally, will you put the hunting rifle to use as Marcy has barely anything to survive off of. Not a lot of shield to go for on that far side of the map, or the far side of the zone, excuse me. Hunting rifle won't hit on J-Dot either, and as I say that, will be taken down, and you gotta be careful from your far side, though, as Marcy's not able to get a revive, but we'll just try to stay alive. Liam and Oliver, once again, just adding to their tally. They were at 12 not that long ago. We're looking at them on 15 now. plenty of room to go to work, but have to be careful here. You're on the lower side if you're Oliver, Higgs, and Liam, and a lot going on around you. Again, still only on the 7th circle. Oliver almost was sneaking up to find a free shotgun shell to the head of Ma, but won't be able to add too much for now, as they're gonna continue to rotate over towards another squad. They find a 3v1 there, but Flux able to get out of that one alive. We'll hop back over around, see what's going on. Back onto Commander's squad's POV. Ema, in a very awkward spot, but still alive. This high ground has been crucial, but again, all the movement tech from these new items makes it just a little harder with a triple jump in the air, basically, between all of these players. Hip fire, hunting rifle. Finally, an aimed-in shot will find its way onto Quinones, or Julian. We'll go with either one. Won't be able to find much more onto Julian, though, as Oliver will take out another player in the meantime. 16 total eliminations. They'll add another for good measure. Brings the tally to 17 now, as Flux will also take out one as well. Big shots once again from Commanders. We'll hop back around. Stark was a player we saw take a lot of damage earlier, but doing just fine for now. Oliver once again finds another elimination. Liam on this low side has to be careful. Triple jump over to Commander. Overly aggressive, but now only a few builds away. Got to be careful, though. You don't want to fall too far out. And all of a sudden, Oliver goes down at the hands of Flux. So it's down to just Higgs and Liam's doing everything that he can to try and chug his way back up to full. We'll try and rotate up and out of some damage here, and I say that they actually will get away without taking much damage at all, and Liam is almost a full now. So gonna be in a tough spot for a favorite duo, but Frixie goes down. Will be another big elimination for the points. They're gonna try and add one more for good measure, and Stark will go down as well. The tally goes up to 19. Playing this low side of the storm, only bound to get dangerous here, but as I say that, Higgs and Liam find a temporary corner of peace, but more rotation. They spot a player above. They're boxed in from a staircase. Will be able to take out Disha just like that. Brings the tally all the way up to almost 20 now. Exactly 20 now, actually. Familiar faces all around as Marcy trying to get out and survive. A few new players we haven't gotten to follow, including JoJo, who's immediately taken down. Tally goes to 21. Higgs and Liam might just be able to make it happen off this duo play. Only 21 players left. I say only. Still a lot to go for. Big shot onto him, who definitely will not live up to the name. Will be immediately taken out by Liam there. We'll have enough time to chug and survive for just a little bit longer as we move on to zone number 10. We'll be able to recharge a chug jug, but that one only had 60. Next one's got 150, so big find for Higgs there. As Liam as well will be able to regenerate some heals here as I once again pop some movement. Meanwhile, Commander really starting to find his own here in the end. Already up to 5 eliminations. Has to be careful, though, as that storm is ever so punishing. 57 white. Also having the high ground. Huge deal for this trio who, after watching Higgs and Oliver and Liam have a tough time, they might be a spot, or it might be a good bet for your favorites. But still, as you can see, so much to go down there as we'll try and hop back in to see what is going on down here. Hopping back onto Crispy's POV. We'll be able to take down Juanito. As Sahor and Chino interact, with Chino coming out on top of that one. Evolved on top, trying to put a little bit extra fire down, but with all this metal, there's only so much that these higher vert players are going to be able to do. We'll hop back around. Flux, the only remaining player of their squad, doing big things. Finding Chino as well! Big for Flux, who's in a solo situation. Higgs in a very awkward spot. Again, still working alongside Liam to try and find one or two more alongside a win with just 2 remaining, but we'll have to be cautious and we'll have to be patient as Commander goes down. In the meantime, Liam goes down as well. Big elimination so far. There goes Cole, there goes Evolved, and as I said, Crispy's trio really in a good spot now. Have to be careful, though. Still a 10 tick onto the last zone now. 7 players remaining. You're looking at 3 of them. Flux goes down. Make it 2. Not sure if TSU and Rocket are on the same squad or not. Higgs still in the fight here as well. Jumble by themselves. They duo queued into this one, actually, as Rocket seems to be a solo as well. They won't be able to find each other just yet as Jax wants the drop. Won't be able to get on the Jumble immediately, but will force Jumble out. Jax trying to find room, but Jumble and Rocket will find each other first, as it'll leave just the 3 in Higgs. 12 eliminations to Higgs' name. There's a lot of players equipped for something special, but this right here would be 1 of 1 if Higgs could try to find it. That's a lot of damage. 30 white, 20 white. Won't fall to 10. We'll try to force a player out into the storm. Won't be able to find the kill on a Jax just yet. An elimination actually will be found, but at what cost, you may ask? It's at the cost of the entire first map. Maw, Jax, and Crispy find a way to get it done by any means necessary at the very end by holding the best possible vertical angle for multiple zones at a time. We'll talk more about tournament details now. In the meantime, just in case any of you might not know what exactly it is that you're watching. So once again, I welcome you to the XP League Franklin X Dignitas Fortnite $1,000 qualifier. All of this will result in 13 trios finding their way to the finals, which will be played this Sunday. As you will also notice, no major zone rules, no banned items playing on Central. 6 total lobbies to be played tonight. And again, just to remind everyone what happened, I mean, look at these lobbies. This was all in map 1. And again, an absurd amount of players showing up and showing out tonight. We are very, very grateful to have this amount of interest, and really, really grateful for the Dignitas crew for deciding to help. And also on that note, I'll give the page a little refresh so we can get an updated standings and see where things stand in the meantime. As you can see, nothing has changed rule-wise. 1 point per elimination with a maximum of 10. So even though we watch a team like Higgs go crazy, you only get 10 points. All the extra eliminations, you're just fighting for placement at that point. And as I say that, here is Liam, and I'm not exactly sure if that is the right squad. It does seem like it is not. I don't believe they got to 21. So right now, your current leaders are Rems, Chris, and Eco. As, again, we'll keep a close eye. There's Crispy Jax right there. A lot of lobbies going on, so a lot of teams that we might not get to see. There is the Higgs squad that we were just talking about. Again, you can also find all of these players who are streaming live by using the Unite link. If you're in the Dignitas Fortnite server, you should have access to that. I'll make sure to try and throw it in chat periodically throughout the rest of the day. So we will only be gone for just a short little bit, but when we come back, we will re-enter the 6-map slugfest that will try and push 13 trios to their share of $1,000. Once again, my name is DJ TJ. We'll be back with map 2 in just a bit. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to XP League Franklin and Dignitas' Fortnite $1,000 Trios Cup. Once again, we are watching replay files tonight, so if you see any weird production bugs and or glitches, please do give us just a slight bit of your patience. But we hop into map 2. My name is DJ TJ. I'll be walking you through all 6 maps of Qualifier Madness tonight. Not to mention that there's many familiar faces that we've seen in previous cups, in previous events, with one of them being right here in front of us by the name of Ryder down there. Now, if you're curious as to why that name is familiar, whenever we had our Duos Cup not too long ago, the top 25 of that event had earnings, and there was a lot of very, very talented players in that event. Now, Ryder was somebody who was not far from that, from the earnings and from that event. He did play in our qualifiers, and I do believe, as I'm struggling to find their exact placement in the final, I do believe that they did qualify because I do remember seeing that name commonly. But you will also notice many players and many, many common names, including in the top left. You'll notice Dignitas Aiden, very much active already in this one. But we're going to do our best to hop and follow as many different streams and POVs and trios as possible. Last time we rolled this thing around, we were able to hop onto Twitch streams and follow it that way. So big thank you to Dignitas and their entire tournament team. Not to mention Big Nate running the show behind the scenes and really making all these lobbies even possible in the first place. And who's also getting us the replay code. So big shout out to Nate for the work that he's up and running tonight. So now we can finally start to settle in and get a look at the map and where things are moving. We ended up at the end of Sinister Strip last time around, and in the meantime, we are going to try and see which squads are actually running in to one another, and it seems like things are relatively peaceful. A few standoffs here and there, no surprise here in the early phase, but gotta be a little cautious if you're some of these players, because I'm not sure, for example, if Twins and Penguin have any clue that there is another few squads here, or a squad here. They have no clue. Penguin's gonna get focused on. Shot is missed, but actually will result in Penguin staying alive for just a little bit longer. Didn't mean to jump the gun there, and Penguin will be eliminated after a few extra shotgun shells will find the way on. Twin takes a lot of damage, is gonna be knocked down for the same price, and just like that, you basically guarantee a squad wipe there. However, Blix is trying everything they can to run away, but I don't think it's going to be enough. You're stuck in the water. It's a miserable spot to be. Trying to flank around is Zerst, looking for that final nail in the coffin, and we'll find it before Blix is even able to get a Blick up. And so there you go. First squad elimination of map 2. Now, granted, you will notice when you look at the tournament page, there is many games to follow. So this is one of, and I'll actually do the math while you guys are watching the gameplay. It looks like that this is one of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 separate matches sitting at 99 players apiece. Well, 11 sitting at 99 apiece. There's another lobby that's got 33 players right now, as you'll take the luck of the draw there. But this is an absurd turnout for this event, and we are so grateful that everyone decided to spend their July 4th weekend with us, and I hope that XP League Franklin, Tennessee, and also Dignitas Fortnite can provide a show for you tonight. It's what I'm here to do. Again, my name is DJ TJ for anybody who's joining late, as we will continue to hop around and see if there is anything in that bottom right mini-map that looks remotely tight or remotely interesting. And as I say that, looks like we've got something building here. Munition, Yuz, and Quelpix, we'll go with that. Please do excuse me if I mispronounce anyone's name. It's very hard to keep track of the 1,000+ players who are with us tonight, basically. And again, we'll talk more about the item pool as things go along, as Munition will spot Mir not far from things, but the item that I'm sure many of you are probably already familiar with, but just in case there are a few of you with us, as I'm actually going to take that point and shove it, because Munition is already going to be taken down at the hand of Zorl, who actually won't be able to eliminate, well, will finally make it happen there. And all of a sudden, the tides have turned as Runs and Quelpix in a pretty miserable spot. Zordle is on a tear right now, as there goes 2 at the hands of Zordle. Zordle looking for one more, or is the teammate going to find it? Clover will find it, and Zordle, 5 eliminations to his name, and the messy skin will do it all by himself. However, Mir still wants a taste of the action here, and Frixie, their teammate, will find a shot onto Zordel in the meantime. So you gotta be careful how you decide to play this, but you've got a 3v3. You also will go ahead and you'll take the early advantage by taking down Griffs. Big elimination there, and you'll get to refresh some building materials here and there, but only so much you get to gain. As you can see in that bottom side, only 150 brick. You do have full steel, but you're running low, and you run directly into Zordel, who was ratting in a corner there, and will be able to eliminate Mir. So all of a sudden, it's a 2v2 now. Not done yet. Frixie just barely avoiding the shotgun shells of Zordel. Got Trustin in the gamer tag. That's a big name to try and live up to, but you've got the high ground over Frixie. You could instill a lot of trust in your trio right here, right now. Frixie not exactly looking on this right side, will pay for not paying attention as Frixie will go down. Now Zordel and Clover will have a 2v1. I don't believe that the third went down. I'm not sure where the third is from that other squad, as got to be careful here if you're Zordel. And it looks like it was Capone who was already out and away, and or Cap'n, not exactly sure how that's supposed to be said, but just like that, a new squad is going to come into the mix here. Dark, Shay, and Layer, or Layers, will find their way. They do know that there was a fight here. I believe they did see the footsteps, but I don't think they've spotted Zordel. Zordel's got to be careful here. I'm not sure if Zordel's aware. Now, definitely will be aware. They spotted Clover, actually, and are going to full ego Clover, a 3v1 of absolute doom, including a reboot ban that isn't going to be able to do much for him. Can't stay alive here, just trying to find a way out of this 3v1 alive. You can see Shay desperately trying to get up, but Clover has done a great job to take high ground and stay alive. Will be able to keep eyes. We'll be able to get a lot of free shots on the Shay. That one you would have loved for it to be a knock, but won't be able to find it. Very cautiously moving down a few pegs here is Clover, who is immediately chased and stuck in a box between a lot of players in a hard place. Zordel is in the middle of that, just trying to find a little bit of help for the teammate, but only so much that you're able to do. Zordel with 7 eliminations so far definitely has the ability to find something, as Dark has actually gone down, I believe, at the hands of Zordel. Layer as well has got to be careful, but I say that will flip the script immediately. Layer, though, turns around, turns back around, does a full 180, but just like that, Clover will do the final tap, and Zordel and Clover have found a way out of a 2v3 alive. How about that for a transition point into what will hopefully be another few squads who are stuck around one another. You'll see there is a lot going on here as the zone starts to focus in towards Battlewoods, which seems to be our place of stay tonight. Got to be careful here in the meantime, no matter who you are, as we're getting familiar with one of the weirdest name trios we've seen tonight. Gigantic Boogie, Scuffed, Zirez. Or Zyrez, excuse me, is Aiden. Has to be careful here. Wasn't looking on that left side. Will take a lot of damage in the meantime. I say that, only does lose a majority of the shield. As again, please do excuse the awkward replay bugs here and there, as this is the pros and cons of getting access to the replay file. Sometimes it wants to work, sometimes it doesn't. So ideally, we'll actually have a working POV, and there we go. We actually do get some working POVs now. So we'll hop onto another squad, Zurst, Angel, and Plasma. A trio that's pretty comfortable where they are. We'll hop back into the action that lagged us in just a second, as Aiden is all of a sudden down to 8 health and staring down the barrel of Gigantic Boogie, who's got full health, and Scuff will go down at the hands of young Josh in the meantime, trying to provide some assistance. Fire Mask will take one down as well, and Aiden, Fire Mask, and Josh, a big name duo, and trio, excuse me, who actually might become the early favorites. Now, granted, I said that last map with Higgs and Oliver, and things went pretty wrong towards the end of things there. Still a lot to see between now and then. 22 trios still remain, 60 total players. So still a lot of full trios left to go through. Also still only on the 5th storm, as are we going to get away from Battlewoods? Yes, we are. We're going to get a ways away from Battlewoods, actually. So very intrigued to see what the rotate strategy will be here. And now I can try and circle back to the point that I was going to make. You will notice that the Shock Rock is in the game, and it is a new item, and it also is one of the best movement pieces we've seen Trios abuse so far this game, as we'll try to spot maybe a Shock Rock somewhere in an inventory. There you go, Justina's got it right in the dead center. So if you see that Shock Rock, or if you see triple jumping in the air, then you will know what you're seeing. And speaking of what we're seeing, we know we see talent. We know we can trust in Zoro, who's got 8 eliminations to his name. Also, their entire trio, because of that 8 elimination assist from Zordal, are sitting at 11 now. So you have the maximum amount of points based off elimination. Zordal also does spot. There's a player moving in the distance, even though the name tag is showing up. Zordal does see him right there in the bottom left of your screen, just about. You'll see Clover. And as I say that, I'm yapping about a bunch of nothing, because that is actually a teammate. The perks of not being able to see the tag, but what we can see is Weibo getting destroyed temporarily, losing a lot of shield, but we'll try to present an opportunity for their teammates to come in and help. In the meantime, we've seen some pretty impressive plays out of this trio right here in Cap'n, Mir, and Frixie, who are a little spread out right now, and so it'll take a lot of damage. You're going to have to rely on Cap'n to maybe try and assist as the highest health player. A lot of shield is down. Weibo will just W-key run it down and almost finds the elimination on Capone. But instead, Weibo pays with his life. Spirit of God has to do a lot more than pray for a result there, and it looks like they will probably have to run out of this fight. Foggy is still very much in the middle of it, though, and could be eliminated at a cost of it. Will be knocked down at the hands of the AR from Cap'n, who will be able to immediately track down Foggy and will guarantee the elimination. You'll miss a shotgun shot there on stream. That's okay. We forgive you. However, there's a lot of other squads. You can look at the bottom right of your map. There is an absurd amount of players stuck here, and this is not a favorable zone for many different trios. You can see it on the right side of your screen. There's a huge height advantage. That's actually Aiden's squad, who's already taken advantage of it, funny enough. Also, a new trio on your screens here. Snipebot 1 and 2 and Neuron. What a interesting set of names there. So we're going to continue hopping around to see what other action might be hitting our screens. We'll hop back into Captain, Frizzy, and Murs POV, who aren't able to find too much in the meantime, but you'll hear a lot of squads start to rotate up and over their heads as things only continue to get dire for many other squads. Boogie has lost a teammate and has lost Scuff, excuse me, in the meantime. So we'll hop around as Boogie tries to stay alive, and now with the storm closing in just a little bit, you'll really start to see some dire moves now, but nothing too dire just yet, as the storm will start to close towards its outer left side. Big rotation from Polka, Cypher, and Beard. Have a lot of mobility in different fashions to try and find their way onto this one. We'll be able to get right on the back of Polka to see what they want to do together. And as the replay bugs, nothing major happening just yet. You'll see the kill feed has actually been pretty dormant in the top left side. Fire Mask will go down at the hands of Polka, who we just hopped off of course. Have to make sure that elimination gets confirmed, though. For those of you asking in chat, are you going to be watching the streams too? As of right now, we're planning on hopping in the replay files and then going from there. We are technically behind all of you because we're watching the replay files, so I can't guarantee we're going to be able to hop in the Twitch streams, but we have done everything we can so far to hop into as many different games and as many different POVs as possible. So, good question, and Zenny, good to see you again, by the way. I believe you played the Duo Cup not that long ago that was hosted on this stream, so good to see you again, my friend. But in the meantime, we've got this lobby to worry about. We've got 19 trios and 47 total players left. And again, a kill feed that has stayed pretty calm. We finally do get to see what the action looks like from above. You'll see that Shock Rock put to use all over again from Swopo, Raleigh, and Echo. And they're going to find their way onto the back of Verge, who had no idea there was a squad behind. And Stonelock and their trio are going to be in an awkward spot as well, as Swopo will find their trio in another high ground spot. But again, look at this zone. It is a miserable spot to try and play from for 9 out of 10 rosters here. As Stonelock gets away, just barely. After a few pistol shots won't do much there. Koval goes down in the meantime. Quinones goes down at the hands of Brennan Boy, who will go ahead and guarantee that one. You can see that trio is trying to find their way onto the rest here as Maki goes down. Miku's in a very, very impossible spot in the meantime, trying to avoid this trio and completely wiping the other one. And as I say that, Young Josh will take out Bezo, so Miku's actually in a pretty safe spot in the meantime. And as I say that, will be completely demolished on the backside of the build, but is still able able to hold on to 40 shield. And will be able to actually avoid most of the action thus far, as we'll hop into another new trio, and Enzo, Logan, and Panger, who do spot players that we've been watching for most of the game, but won't be able to take action on it. We're going towards our 9th zone ever so quickly, as Fire Mask is revived, and is a big deal because young Josh, Aiden, and Fire Mask, I believe, are a safe favorite right now, sitting at 12 eliminations, but have to do just a little more to guarantee. I mean, again, we saw Oliver and Higgs have a very unfortunate last few zones and then last few really sets of team fights that went the wrong way, and so you got to be careful here. You've already kind of gotten your luck tested with Fire Mask going down and take a little bit of damage in the meantime, but nobody's able to put an immediate amount of pressure on this squad here. And as I say that, we see Cap'n and their squad trying to find a way onto Stonelock, Ryder, and Velo, but not able to find much in the meantime, as they did lose Mir, and Captain and Frixie are really, really struggling for any sort of heals right now. You can hear the footsteps. They are loud as ever right above them. We'll be able to at least find temporary presence in the bottom side. As I was about to look away and talk about a new team, but Captain almost gets annihilated, and we see Snipebot and Neuron trying to work together to really guarantee an elimination on either one of these red labeled players, but instead Stonelock goes down at the hands of Aiden and Josh, who will raise their kill tally all over again. We hop on to Cypher, Polka, and Beard, who will go ahead and rotate over. You can see the zone in the bottom right side of your screen. It's looking pretty rough here, and now you're going to see that kill feed really start to populate now. 32 total players, 14 trios. Pixel goes down to storm damage. Snipebot finds Neko. Preston finds Frixie, as we're still trying to get involved on the action. We can see it all from above in the meantime. Swopo, Brawley, and Meko have found their way into high ground once again. Common theme, obviously, in Fortnite. I don't need to tell you what high ground is worth in a battle royale, but I can tell you that it was the key to winning the last map that we saw. So big deal if you can hold on to it. Brendan Boy was a player who found a few eliminations not too long ago, as Aiden's trio only seems to continue to run through any squad they want to, as they now have raised their tally to 15. However, they are in this awkward spot between the low and the high ground, and have to be careful, as you'll take the mobility, you'll keep that wall up so that you don't send yourselves flying, and it will actually put them in a good spot to stay right in between all of the action, and they could make it through, but they are still getting hounded from above. Sortle still remaining with an 8 in the elimination tally, but Clover and Griffs, well, even though Clover is off the map now, have really put this squad in a good spot to try and find big points here, but nothing to be found yet, as young Josh and Aiden will really try to focus on some of these higher players. Owie's going to drop right in front of them, and they'll get the elimination. They'll grab another one here as it brings our tally to 16. Griffs takes down Preston. Brennan Boy is W-keying into one of the favorite trios in this lobby. A bold move there as players continue to go down. However, Brennan will not be found by this trio. It'll be Brawley who finds it, but Velo goes down to the storm. Another unfortunate case of storm damage there. Tonic goes down as another elimination will find its way through, so it brings us to 17 here on this squad, but Cypher walks up. Aiden didn't look over in time. Fire Mask goes down immediately. Miserable spot for these two to try and recover from now, as they might be able to potentially stick this because they knocked down Polka. And Polka teammates left him to die, actually, so brings the tally up to 18 now. Still being attacked from above as Cypher and Beer will just drop onto this one. The replay lags, but it won't stop the inevitable, as Cypher just gives a life away there. It's the equivalent of feeding. And you're feeding points and kills and placement to this trio right now, and as I say that, they'll be attacked from behind, but no knocks will be found from it, as this zone is down to the last here. 12th and final zone. Only going to get harder from here. Going down a few pegs will be Aiden, Josh, and Fire Mask. We'll see what the other squads are trying to do. 6 trios and 11 players remaining. So many, many solos and duos still left here, including Zurst, who isn't being really pushed on too much. Might be able to find Josh. Whiffs the shotgun shell. Was blocked by his own wooden wall. That right there is a crucial whiff for what could have been a guaranteed elimination, but instead, Zorl, who's still alive, will find one there, but Josh, Firemask, and Aiden have other plans as down goes Griffs. Still plenty of opportunity, but as you can see, the storm is almost about closed here. 30 seconds left on it. Trying to go down layers and knock out these last few players. Zurst in a miserable spot, won't be able to find much damage at all. Aiden trying to take down the Vert. That'll be a big deal there, as here we go. Storm still as small as ever. We'll finally begin to close up here, and it'll be a mixed heal off, as Aiden will actually find Beard, but it's a 3v1. You just need one player to stay alive. Brawly now coming in and trying to get involved. Josh does go down. Brawly won't be able to stay alive, though, and all three members of the favorites in this game, they made a point early. They made a statement early by getting ahead in the kill count, and they did not let up. Aiden, Josh, and Firemask find their way into a crucial map 2 win as they'll continue to raise their tally. And as I take a moment to get away from the game audio, we'll take a look at the updated standings before we send things off to another very short break. Once again, for those of you joining us late, welcome to the second XP League Franklin X Dignitas Fortnite tournament. Last tournament was a duos event, a $2,000 duos event. This one, we're very fortunate to present a $1,000 trios event. As you can see, it is a absolutely packed scoreboard. I mean, we're talking about 418 trios who have played at least one game. It is incredible to see the turnout here on July 4th weekend. We are forever grateful for all of your involvement, and we will try to find where Aiden, Josh, and Firemask are. There they are. They're sitting at number 5 in the meantime, and we didn't get to see their first game. They finished 4th with 6 eliminations, and then we get to catch them go number 1 with 25 eliminations across the 3. That is absolutely absurd. But you can also find this tournament link not only here in the Twitch chat, but you can also find it in the Dignitas Fortnite Discord server. Try and keep tabs on all of the lovely Twitch streams. As you can see, there is huge viewership being pulled tonight. We're very thankful to have so many different faces and creators and professionals and semi-pros and aspiring pros in this event tonight. So this is how your leaderboard currently stands. You're looking at your top 13 trios to qualify. And as you can see, Higgs, Liam, and Oliver, after their relatively tough first game, they bounce back. They get the second place, or sorry, they get the 6th place in 18 eliminations. So not a bounce back game of sorts, but staying in contention at 110 points. But as you can see, that margin between 1 and 13 is absurd. Once again, my name is DJ TJ, but when we come back, we will be halfway through the night, getting into map number 3. We'll be right back. right, ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome back to the $1,000 XP League Franklin X Dignitas Fortnite qualifier for the $1,000 Grand Finals on Sunday. My name is DJ TJ. It is a pleasure to have you here and spending your July 3rd, your July 4th Eve with us. We are very, very grateful to have you. Now, we are going to get onto the fourth map. Unfortunately, as some of you who may have been checking in the stream earlier, things got a little delayed from our end, and then personally it's from my end, so I do apologize for missing the third map. Basically, long story short, we tried to get the replay files up and moving. My game was unfortunately not wanting to work with me, but I'm glad that all of your games are working because it has been so much fun to watch your matches tonight. So, we do not get a third map, just to clarify, but it is also a double-edged sword because the games that matter are your best three. Your best three games are what matter. And just a reminder, in case you didn't already know, on the right side of your screen is the points. So obviously, getting into a top 2, getting into a top 3, that is a huge deal. Whereas your top 4, your top 8, you're relatively close. Same thing with your top 9 all the way down through, I would argue, your top 11, top 12. And then it starts to taper off towards the end there. So, now on that note, if you are curious as to how you can maybe watch some of these other players' POVs, there are many, many different streams going on tonight. And if you look in the Twitch chat, you can try and catch all of these wonderful people, many even familiar faces as well. I mean, obviously Oliver and Higgs playing together, very excited to see what they get up to in some of their next games. They had a pretty rough start on stream, but as we are going to see in just a second by checking the scoreboard, they have had quite the turn up since then. We caught them in this second place 24 elimination game. They still have yet to find a win tonight, but they are in a beautiful spot sitting at third on the table currently. Now, as for your top few trios, not anything too unexpected. Now, however, I think something that is unexpected out of this would be a trio like Botify, Powers, and Mello, who get a win with only 4 eliminations. And obviously, Zertix, Ayers, and Static finding 3 straight wins and maxing out their score twice out of those 3 times. And many squads we saw in some earlier games as well. Here's Cole, Commander, and Evolved, obviously getting a win, and then in the games that we saw, they got eliminated just slightly too early, but they obviously are continuing to max out their points wherever they can, getting over that elimination threshold, which is 10 eliminations every single time. Now, if you're curious, where is the cutoff line? It is 13. Your top 13 trios will qualify to your finals. And then if your next question is, well, DJ TJ, how many people, how many players, how many trios are actually going to play for $1,000? I'm so glad you asked. XP League Franklin will be sending 4 of our very own high school, middle school age trios to compete alongside 15 pro trios. And that'll be alongside our top 13 to create a 32 trio pool with 96 total players. I believe over the span of either 4 or 6 maps, excuse me, we'll get that qualified or quantified, whichever word you want to use. We'll get it locked down shortly. But as you can see, after this third map, things are getting pretty dicey now. I would argue from about number 7, number 4 even, all the way down to about this 20 spot. There are many, many uber talented players and uber talented trios in these queues, and they are all 1 or 2 more big games, 1 or 2 more top 3s, top 5s, top 6s even, from finding that edge over their other fellow trios, obviously trying to go and compete for their share against some of the best on Sunday after a wonderful July 4th weekend. Now, other than that, not a whole lot more to add from our end. We talked a lot earlier about the loot pool that I was going to then continue to mention. The big thing that has changed the way the game is being played today are obviously you have the exploder rifles that have been in for the last few seasons that do splash damage. That's a big deal. You also have the hunting rifle, which has found its way back into the game now. And having the hunting rifle back is not only nostalgic for someone like me, who's obviously been involved for a long time, but also when you get the best of the best, you're only bound to see some very, very special clips. But even though you get all of those weapons, the Ranger pistol is back in as well. And that's always been a tried and true, especially on mouse and keyboard, for those players. But I think the biggest point of contention and the biggest points, I think of, or the biggest talking points, excuse me, is going to be these shock rocks, a newer item into the game, and has allowed players to basically triple jump and rotate across the entire zone, or even then some. And we've seen a lot. We've seen a lot of range tonight. We saw Sinister Strip. We saw a banger on the top side of Sinister Strip, and then we ended up at Battlewoods all the way up towards almost Lifty. So we've seen a very Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the $1,000 Trios Cup between Dignitas Fortnite and XP League Franklin, Tennessee. We are very, very grateful to welcome you on a wonderful July 4th weekend to what has been nothing short of cinema tonight. Now, granted, we still have so many different trios and so many new faces to get familiar with today, and we will do our best to really, really try and settle in to this fourth map and really highlight some of the wonderful people who have been fighting all night. We have had over 1,200 players today. 1,200 trios is at its absolute peak right now, and the Dignitas Fortnite team has been incredible. Shout out to both Brown and to Nate. They have been absolutely incredible running the event on the back end and then allowing us to hop in, and we're using replay files and replay codes to watch these games. So if you see bugs, if you see errors, please forgive us, as there's one right there, for example. But what I can tell you is, again, the action never, ever stops, as Flyer will live up to his name, triple jump into a headshot, and, of course, an easy knock onto a Cooper who is stuck all by his lonesome. Now, however, Cooper's squad is still alive. As you can see, there's many orange faces around there. But we will continue to hop around the map, as there is always something else going on, including some familiar faces who are actually in contention. Commander Evolved and Cole are actually sitting at 4 right now. And if you're wondering how well they've done tonight, well, they've gone 6th place, 1st place, and 6th place, maxing out their eliminations tally, which is maximum of 10 points on 10 eliminations. Everything over that is just extra. It doesn't give you any extra points per se. They have really, really found their own, and they're looking like one of your favorites to make it out of tonight alive. The top 13 trios will survive and will go on to play in Sunday's finals. In the meantime, Evolve will take down Rom, and just like that, we already see that trio get right back to work, as they already raised their tally to 6 out of, once again, the 10 maximum that will max your points out. Now, again, we were going to continue to hop around. We do still have more going on, including Zide and Zulfix and Maribi, who are already finding a pretty awkward angle onto Spiral. I say awkward for Spiral, not for them by any means. As here comes a flank from the top side. Maribi tries to read through the edit, will do so, will get a heavy amount of damage, but not before many familiar faces. I just saw Clover in the top left go out. It's a player we've seen many times tonight. About to see how big of a deal it is, and I can tell you it's a big deal for Maribi if they get caught out by an awkward angle here. Spiral will tank a lot of damage there and almost gets knocked down from Maribi's exploding rifle. Spiral will W key directly into him. Won't be able to find much more, though. Will be pinned between Zide and Maribi. And so there goes one. You bring the tally to a 3-2 now as they try to find their way and do just a little more pressure. It looks like those two did make a decision to rotate out. It will be Kopek, who takes a lot of damage. Look at that amount of white health. It is absolutely nothing, but gets away in one piece. Big deal for those two there. But bigger deal for these three, who had a really, really good set of angles, really good set of pressure, and you do get to refresh some chugs and then pick up an extra one if you're Maribi, actually. But you would have loved to have those extra eliminations. So we'll have to check back in on them later. We'll hop around to see if there's any other squads who are getting a little too close to one another. We've got Duke, Frank, and Vladdy, who are pretty much encroaching all over another squad's territory here, with Teacher, Cake, and Ripes, who actually will watch Sock, we'll call him Sock, go down immediately at the hands of Frank, and who will be eliminated very promptly, and that right there will do it. Frank will get away with that one, and now we'll see what can Sock and Ripes do. They're going to instantly try and take somewhat of high ground, and you have options here. You got to be careful. You don't protect your backside. You almost get eliminated here, and here comes Frank out of left field to try and get back into that one, but no hero play just yet. And as I say that, Frank gets a lot of damage onto Cake. That pistol has been so crucial. Cake actually goes down to fall damage, I do believe, unless the replay bugged. But I believe there was fall damage or something very awkward there. I wish that we could have seen it from another angle, but there you go. There goes 2 in that squad there, and it leaves just 1 remaining. So for Duke, Frank, and Vladdy, you will absolutely take that 9 times out of... You'll take it 10 times out of 10. You'll take that 2 out of 3 and walk away with that. So, in the meantime, Renzo tries to put their hands onto a jumping Chase 24, who is able to get away, and we'll have to pop a little bit more just to get out of there unscathed. But in the meantime, Maribi in the top left has gone down. I'm very curious to see if we can try and find out what's going on over there. Maribi and Zide have gone down, and Zulfix is gone back to where we left them, right here near Latte Landing. So, not sure what happened there. We'll hop back over to another new trio at the hands of Gavin, Otter, and Cosmic. We've seen that TSU many times through the lobby, and as I say that, we'll see the TSU get fried by Bushy as well, and will be immediately knocked out by, you guessed it, the Ranger pistol. The weapon of choice of almost everyone tonight, it seems, and for good reason when it's that efficient, that precise, and again on keyboard and mouse that quick. However, Bushy almost finds a way onto a flank on a player here, but just barely will be stopped by a wall. We'll see those shock rocks used for, again, this absurd triple jump that throws your character as high as ever. Bushy will be able to get out of dodge, but not sure where Bushy's teammates are in the meantime. Seems like they are all actually pretty spread out, as Bushy's basically on the low ground from the duo. So we'll have to come back in and check on them. I'm not sure if they're going to be chased by Bush or by the other trio. I'm not sure which one it was, but nothing to be followed there. So I guess we'll hop around more in the meantime. Got players that we also haven't seen before in Kay, Stetch, and Daryl. I'm not sure if they're aware that Renzo and a trio are down there, or that Combe and Stormzoo. Are they aware of a team rushing them, or are they going to try and get out of here? Let's see what the play is here. Might just run directly into them. I don't know if they have any clue. That Stetch is basically running up within arm's length and will take out a lot of damage and health, and we'll get it all down to a knock, and it will be an instant 3-man push onto Combe, who's doing everything they can. That's really high, and that's almost a guaranteed elimination at this level, and that's exactly what it will be. Follow on to what's next for another one of these trios, as we'll follow on to some more new people with Clutch, Intexi, and Nate. But they're pretty uncontested right now, so we'll continue to hop around. Again, we're doing everything we can to highlight as many different lobbies and players and perspectives and streams as possible, as Otter will meet Leahy at the rim and will be destroyed for it from Sniper Dude RIP. Who's got 5 eliminations. So I think when you're talking about individual players who are leading the eliminations count, definitely somebody to look out for, as we were going to try and sort, but it is a little bugged, so that's unfortunate. Really wish that would work, but we'll hop around. We'll hop back into Keon's POV. Again, many sightings of this TSU tag, so big shout out to that crew and what they're doing tonight. Got a lot of very talented players playing on many different rosters and who have really showcased their talents. Keep hopping around to see what might be next for another trio. We're sitting at 55 players, still got a lot of zones to go, and as I say that, we've got more action, and it's going to be Zolfix with Penny, and the entire squad from Zolfix N will come in and crash down and take out Z-Penny, and that'll bring their tally only up to 2. Again, they have found fights at almost what seems the worst possible time, either once a squad's ready to leave or maybe when there's only a straggler. So have done a lot thus far and have used a lot of materials and ammo, but haven't been able to find a full wipe or more than 1 elimination per team. However, that could change right here, right now, as they're trying to track down Renzo, Catbot, and Crazy. They're going to have some time, though. They don't have to rush, and it doesn't look like they will. They will spot Renzo and Crazy, though, who will take a little bit of damage, but they will also fight back. And also, it seems like that the third, and Catbot, I believe, was the name, got away scot-free. Wow, it's been a long night. Excuse me. It's a little harder to cast 6 Fortnite maps than expected. In the Duos Cup, I believe we only had 4 in a row. And we also had 2 qualifiers spread out across 2 separate days, and then obviously the finals. So we're learning together. A big shout out to XP League Franklin for once again sponsoring the event alongside DIGNITAS FORTNITE, who is helping the back end. XP League Franklin has obviously been able to support the prize pool and many of the at-large things needed to run said event. But very thankful for DIGNITAS and having the manpower and the willpower and human power, all of it together, whatever word you want to use, to put this event together. So on that note, on a positive or negative note, we'll hop onto another squad's POV and see where things are lining up for them. Zordal and Clover, a roster that we've talked about already, as they are also a team that is very much in contention to potentially qualify out. They have gone against some of the best already tonight and have had pretty decent success so far, as we'll see what will come out of this next fight. As I was trying to double check where Zordal's trio is, but so far it seems like that their names on the Unite page are not on the front page, so I'm not sure where Clover and all of them are. Hopefully we can get confirmation on that on there. I don't believe they're out of the top 100, but again, who knows at the end of the day. There's so many players, it's dang near impossible. They are actually out of top 100. They're 121st right now in the rankings, but they've had some very good showings. They placed 13th with 7 eliminations, not their best, but then 6th with 15 eliminations, which is some of the second or third best scores of some of the leading groups. So here in these next 3 maps, you absolutely need to see more out of this trio, and they've shown it tonight. But so far, getting pretty deep into this one. Still no eliminations, and we'll have to see what crunch time holds for them later on. So, we'll continue to hop around. And as I do, we will arrive directly here in Battlewoods. And as you can see, there is a hefty amount of players here. And we'll hop back on to Frank, Vladdy, and Duke all over again, who are surrounded by many of the favorite or leading groups so far, including Maribi, Zydbot, and Zulpix, who will finally find some extra eliminations this time around as they bring their tally up to 4. Vladdy and Duke, I don't know if they want any piece of this action. Zulpix does spot Frank. Zyd and Zulpix will hop down on Frank and will take Frank down in the meantime, but Duke getting their builds absolutely destroyed by the zipline. A little bit of tech here to be talked about, and it'll be used efficiently as more players go down. It's a full squad wipe for Maribi, Zydbot, and Zulpix. Absolutely fried. And worth noting that, hey, if you can get that zipline down, it will absolutely tear through those builds. So big point of contention here in Battlewoods as we'll hop on to another squad and see what's next. We've got Blow and Ace, who have lost their third, and I don't believe they're going to be in any rush to get into a fight. One of the, again, top trios in this entire bracket you're staring at right now. You're looking at Cole, Evolved, and Commander, who will take down 8 another contending player in a contending trio, so big deal here. As in the meantime, we'll see who wins this interaction. They're both basically W-keying each other now, as I don't think this is what Cole, Evolved, and Commander wanted to do with where they stay on the scoreboard, but they're willing to adapt around it, and they are going to be more than willing to continue to take boxes here and there. But of all the trios who want it bad, Zydbot has gone insane alongside Maribi and Zulpix, but got to be careful though, because Cole's got a lot of game of his own trying to find a way onto the backside of Maribi. Won't be able to, and is just spazzing through the bottom side of these builds, but won't be able to find much more off of it. Again, just to remind everybody where things stand. Evolved, Cole, and Commander are at 11th right now. Only the top 13 make it, and if you need your best 3 maps, that is what will send you into the finals. If you are one of the best trios, one of the best 13 trios with your best 3 maps. So now that we're all on the same page, we can follow that storyline a little closer, and there's a lot of other teams that we've seen take bits and pieces and chunks out of the top 150, top 200 trios, or are currently residing in that range, and I think Zulpix and Zyd and them, who we haven't seen tonight, I'm trying to see where they may be, and it looks like, well, we'll check it in a second as we're going to hop directly into another fight here. And as I say that, it looks like Cole and that trio will slow down, but as you can see, we're already making our way onto the 6th zone, so it's only bound to get a little wilder from here. You'll see, again, more familiar faces like Zordel, who was an absurd fragger in some of the earlier games, is running away from this trio here, trying to see where they're going to end up. Zordel is taking a lot of damage over there, and in the meantime, you'll miss a few shotgun shells if you are Crazy and their trio who are sitting aside. Cooper will watch that shotgun shell hit the side of the brick, but instead Zolar's in a very bad spot. Heals just a little longer than I think they would have liked to be stuck in. They also have the shock rock, so that triple jump will do work, but this is the bad part about this item, is that it is great for getting out of dodge, but it puts you so high and it's so powerful that it leaves you vulnerable for so long. You'll pop another one, your last one for Zolar, who's trying to stay alive, but meanwhile, Stetch, Daryl, and Kaze look to only make their elimination tally higher, but they've got to be careful. There's a trio right behind them, but they won't be able to focus Kaze enough. And so even though their kill tally's at 14, still very susceptible to the worst here, as they will get out of that one alive. But as you can see, this next zone not favorable for really much of anyone, as Kaze is immediately taken down. Rexo, Booming, and Keon have found their way into the fight here, and who have really been a sleeper team in this game. Many teams who have only been able to grab maybe 4 to 7 total eliminations, or, I mean, this squad specifically 8, but I guess anything under 10 at this point is what I'm referring to. But they continue to run into each other, then they back out. Obviously, playing for placement, you can see the nerves start to rise in some of these players here when you get to your do-or-die maps here in Map 4. We'll follow back on the contending squad, sitting currently at 11th out of the 1,200 total players as Commander, Evolved, and Cole. who are, again, playing a long game. There's no reason to rush, but they might rush onto the wrong squad, as I was trying to follow Maribi and see what they're up to, as that's not the group that you want to push. But high ground is grabbed by Evolved Commander and Cole, and that right there is a huge deal. As you can see, many players starting to get stuck on top of one another. They'll try and focus down on the sniper dude, but not much to find there. Once again, Zolpix and their trio still trying to find room to work here, but now in a pretty tough spot. Maribi, Zide, and Zolpix are currently sitting at 106th right now, and they've had a 5th place with 11 points, or with 11 eliminations, excuse me, and that right there, again, is a contending map when things are said and done. So if they can try and replicate that right here, right now, we're talking about them jumping up another 20 to even 40 or 50 spots and getting closer and closer to those contending 13 lanes to get to the finals. But they've got a lot of teams to go through, and even though they're on par, they're on pace to do it right now, I would say that about a lot of squads. In the meantime, Maribi will take down Commander in the meantime. That is a huge deal for that squad, as they'll try and get the get back, but as of right now, it doesn't seem like that's going to fall. That's a huge elimination, but actually, I take that back. Commander is going to get revived. Was able to slip away off of the build there, and in the bottom right side of your screen, way bottom side of your screen, we'll be able to stay alive there, as here we go. Zolpix, Zide, and Maribi rushing on to try and continue to take down some of these lesser contending squads, who maybe it doesn't mean as much right here, right now, but with $1,000 on the line in a grand finals the day after July 4th this Sunday, you know what's at stake and you want it bad. Will continue to remain high ground. Shock Rock will go down, and so we'll give options here. They're going to wait. They're going to spot the next zone sitting here on the edge. What is the play? They'll continue to pyramid their way on the side, but as you can see, we're down to our 9th zone. It's only bound to get more awkward from here. Leahy, another player that we've seen multiple times tonight, not able to find too much. Evolved gets knocked down by Burke. That's a huge deal, again, for that contending group. Leahy knocked down by Daryl. Again, all of these kind of sleeper mechanical beasts of squads not able to find their way into an easy game. This is what's awesome about this format, what's awesome about Trios, and having 1,200 players playing in these lobbies, that you're bound to get banger games, and Leahy will finally be eliminated. I'm very intrigued to see where in the world did that contending squad end up. I really wish I could see. I'm trying to count down below to see who's still alive. I don't see any of them at all, actually. So on that note, I do believe that if my memory is correct, I think Evolved, Cole, and Commander are out of this lobby, and that means they went out 8 as well, which is a huge deal for them, as they're going to temporarily fall out of contention. But you still have 2 maps left to go, and you've got a lot of squads here in this game. Nobody in the current pool of teams left is sitting in the top 13. So it's a big deal to try and find your points where you can. And as I say that, Maribi, Zolpix, and Zide will continue to try and spam the high ground. And I do actually take that back, because I believe Cayenne's squad might be in contention. Or Keon's squad, I do believe, is in contention in the top 13. We'll double check that as we go, but we're going to continue to slow things down just a little bit, as Zide will lose Maribi. We'll still have Zolpix to work off of, but as you can see, a lot of awkward interaction between these builds here forces Zide to retreat all the way to the bottom, and look at that next zone in the bottom right. It is absolutely miserable. Then Zolpix almost finds full elimination on the cache. They might still be able to find one onto Burke, who tries to build all the way through. They might be able to get a shotgun shell back onto Zolpix. Will do exactly that, and down goes Zide and Zolpix. So one of the quote-unquote sleeper squads, which everyone in this lobby is now at this point, gonna be looking to gain huge points here with only 4 trios left, looking at 10 total players. Experiment, Cash, and Burke. We have not gotten to talk about them at all this game, and they're on the verge of something special here, as we'll see if there's anything left to go. Cash will go down, as Experiment will jump through the house here, but it will also let everyone know where things are sitting. As I also do want to clarify, Rexo, Kian, and Dark Knight, they are actually sitting at number 9 right now. So we actually had 9 and 11 in the same lobby, and they didn't get to see each other too much, but they'll obviously take it as the lower rated squad has gone down. You'll also take a knock on the Stetch as well, at the hands of Keon, who's got 7 eliminations. So Cayenne, yeah, we'll go with Keon. who's continuing to put the pressure on. Dark Knight and Rexo as well will continue to guarantee those eliminations. It'll bring Keon's total to 8. Daryl will go down as well, so results in what I believe is a 3v2 as Experiment will try to change those odds, but it won't mean anything. Burke in a 1v3 of doom and gloom, and it will not change the result. Again, a favorite squad finds their way into the finals, but this is one of the first maps where the highest ranked squad has ended out with a win. So what does that mean for Keon and Rexo and this trio? Well, that right there is their first win of the night. They got 4th place with 8 eliminations, 2nd place with 8 eliminations, and now they get a 1st place with 16 eliminations. That right there is a huge deal, and you can see it on the scoreboard right here. They're currently sitting right in front of your screen at number 9. That will only change for the better for them, as we will also refresh the scoreboard in the meantime, and we'll keep tabs on where everyone is right now. And nothing much has changed towards the top here. Airs, Static, and Zertix still at the top alongside Liam, Nut, and Void, who have won their first 3. It looks like they had a pretty rough game in this map 4, so something to look past there. And even here for Zertix, Air, and Static, your worst game is a 2nd place after back-to-back-to-back wins. It's crazy. It's insane. There's Leahy, who we saw, who, again, we just watched their game. They needed a better placement. Obviously would have aimed a little bit higher than 7th, but at the end of the day, you'll take what you can, and it does keep you in contention with your 2 wins where you max out the points. So big things to look out for there. That also means that we had another top squad in the lobby, so forgive me for not being able to check the scoreboard as we go. But with those players now all in one lobby, I can only imagine what our next lobbies are going to look like. There's Mello, Bodify, and Powers, who we saw earlier. Obviously a game to forget for them, finishing 27th. There's Evolved, Cole, and Commander, who are still actually 13th, but only by a singular point at 167. So a lot to worry about if you're still in this 150 to 170 range, where your qualifying spots are easily swayed by one game. Many of these teams have a lower placement of some kind. They would like to forget, but many of these teams also have a win under their belt in some of these lobbies. And so the exponential ability to rise up the leaderboard just with an extra 2nd place or 3rd place or 4th place compared to that 27 or something like that will do numbers. So here's what we're going to do. We've only got 2 more maps left to go. We appreciate all of you spending your night with us here on a lovely July 3rd, July 4th Eve on America's 250th birthday. We will return with the fireworks and maybe even lighten the cake for our top 13 squads in just a little bit. Don't go anywhere. or XP League X... What? Wait a minute, back it up. XP League, Franklin, Tennessee, X Dignitas Fortnite. We've had a very long night of games. We started at about 7 p.m. Eastern time. We are encroaching on 10 o'clock Eastern very, very quickly. So please do forgive any delays in my speech, as I am your solo host for the entire night. My name is DJ. TJ, it is a pleasure to have you all here with us, and we're going to get into the action as quick as ever, as Optics will absolutely destroy Green Alien in the meantime, and well, Green Apples to the end of Green Alien's life, as we'll see what's left in Optics' bag of tricks, who still has two teammates who are in a tighter spot than they might be, as Green Alien will go down. The entire squad seems to go down, or 2 of the 3 in that squad will go down in the meantime, so big for those 3 to continue on. However, there are Jerry's and Fire, who just kind of, or sorry, Vero and Fire, who just kind of found their way into a rotation here, and all of a sudden, they actually will find a shot onto Optics here, and not sure what the next play is here, as these are all trios that we have not seen before, so a very, very hot start. As a new trios came in as well, I saw, or not a new trio, sorry, I was going to say Viper has gotten more health alongside Alpha and Optics, and has now been able to try and continue on. You did hear the reboot van in the distance, and so by the gas station, they'll bring a player up. Big brick build will stop a shotgun shell from landing on Viper's head. A rotation quickly on the backside will be countered by a flank and a rotation from Rain of their own, as not only will Viper go down, but Alpha as well, and Optics has to just pick up and get out of town. We've seen many, with this season, new ways of rotating around the map be used, and it's obviously very, very nice to see the tried and true overdrive grenade after what has been a slew of shock rock usage. Either way, whenever you have to run for your life, you'll take anything that you can get, as we'll take a quick look at where things are settling in this game. It does seem like that some squads are getting a little close for comfort on this far side, as not exactly sure. The map might be lying to me. It does look like it is. So we'll actually check on all these squads out here in the storm with Kinkuju, Convicts, who we recognize from the duo qualifiers not too long ago, and Faith, another new player to the stream here. They're all running basically right past another squad here, and I don't think Convicts wants any piece of that action. So fair play, as we'll hop back in and see if maybe there's some people who have decided to get involved. Warren is in a very, very miserable spot, losing Swag and Derek to what I would believe is probably the squad right here, who is going to be searching for, yeah, no, it is the squad right here, searching for their 3rd elimination here on the last player. But Kawhi Leonard, lockdown defender. I cannot say Kebab's name all the way through. And then Zupa, who are going to try and find their 3rd. We'll check in on them later. A lot of new trios here. I haven't recognized a single trio yet this game, so we might be on for a new winner. Oh, no, as I say that, I just saw Brennan Boy, so there's a familiar name who we saw not that long ago. There is Ollie as well, who is representing, there's Rainy Reaper. So a few players representing XP League Franklin, who have unfortunately either fallen out of this game or still contending. We'll have to check in on all of these players and then some in a bit. There's Scuffy as well, another recognized name from before. Not a lot of fighting, though, in the meantime, as here is that squad that we recognize I was just talking about. Gigantic Boogie, Scuffy, and Zerez, who I thought was going to get involved in a potential early fight, but doesn't seem like they're going to get too close to one another. Again, still early in the game. You're looking at 22 squads. A lot of the teams who are still contending in the top 20, the top 25. Again, you're trying to get to the top 13. A lot of those players, or a lot of those teams, excuse me, have had a game where they've gotten a top 22, a top 20, a top 18, 16. So this is a pretty crucial stage of the game. And in the meantime, we'll watch Convicts, Faith, and Kinkuju try and continue to add to their point tally. They will do so with an elimination there. However, nobody's out of the woods ever in this game, as Tilted, Azul, and Natesy will all find their way running away from what is a very, very eager red squad right above them, who is already taking names and looking for more. However, Joshua is actually flanked, is alive though. In the meantime, Drenardo is traded out. Tilted is down. Joshua still is in an awkward spot, and all of a sudden the tables could turn for the absolute worst. Azu is trying to save as what I believe is a full 1v1, or it's an awkward 2v1, excuse me, with a player very low. However, Azu is one of those low players and is the one in the 2v1. The storm is encompassed as well, and so with the one tick and a shotgun shell to the head, there's only so much you can do. But in the meantime, Bucka, Jerry's, and Rain have all slid in and will grab a few extra eliminations. That is peak third party play from those three, as they will take the extra eliminations. That'll bring their tally up to 11. It looks like Joshua might get away with their life here as well. I believe Fire might be searching for more loot, might be searching for where the last player could be, but Joshua looks like that they might get out of this one alive. It's going to be close, though. Are they going to check that pyramid? They do check it. They do find Joshua, and now they know 3v1, the call will be made for sure, but Joshua wants to get out of there. That tried and true Ranger pistol, well, with an awkward overdrive nade, won't exactly result in a very good outcome there. Not able to follow on and find that elimination, so you'll have to let that one go. Zerez up top will take down Mason. Got to keep a close eye on that kill feed. You never know what you're going to see there. Still a lot to settle into. Still waiting on exactly people to get overly ambitious. So the lobby's really starting to kind of space out now. I mean, here's another new trio with Wemby, Ninja, and Iku. Or Iku. We won't be able to find too much. We'll just be rotating towards the next zone, which looks like we're going to end up towards Sunken Shores. We might end up seeing Sinister again in the late game, which nothing wrong with that. Got one of our best maps of the night at Sinister. Jordan will die to what seems to be fall damage and or a replay bug. You never know. Still a lot of time left. I mean, only on the 4th storm and already down to 48 people. This is one of the slower games. And as I say that, Brennan Boy goes down at the hands of Scoo, which I was trying to see if we could find where Scoo is, and I don't think we are. There they are, between Joshua and Zor, taking out that squad that we recognized earlier, and I believe that's all 3 of that squad earlier that is gone. I don't see them anywhere on the map. But in the meantime, Rain back on what we expect from them, as they have been overly egotistical. And actually, I take that back. Brendan's squad is still alive. Jordan and Gurr. I guess Jordan got back up. They'll try and keep the legacy alive. A lot of teams have made their way towards Sinister now. As Dark, Mercy, and Bolt, they do spot Iku, and will take down Iku as well, being able to focus all that energy and power there. The Ranger pistol going to work once again, as a third party will try to be prevented here. Iku has gone down, will be finally eliminated by NS. New squad found their way into an extra little free knock, or not knock, but elimination there. Big deal for the points, especially when 10 is the maximum and you've only got 6 right now. A lot more action starting to populate that kill feed now. So keep a very close eye on the top left side of your screen. Jerry's goes down, surprisingly, a player who again has been overly egotistical and I thought for sure had a long stay in this game, but as I was scrolling through all these players, it looks like, yeah, it'll be taken down by another familiar squad in Scuffies, Boogie, and Zerez, who still trying to obviously get their tally up. They've very quickly become one of the kill-leading trios, I do believe, without any doubt. However, they're going against one of the other better squads in this lobby as well, as this new-look trio of Rain and their entire team trying to find their way through. It is only 2, though, as they are actually the kill leaders in this lobby, so big deal here to try and take out these 2. Scuffy, Zerez, and Boogie still trying to find room, but Bucka is able to find a shotgun shell into the face of a player there, and will try and even the tally up, but not before taking a little bit of damage to the kneecap there. Rain goes down, and it leaves Bucka all by themselves. Will try to rotate out, but with 6 overdrive nades and only 72 white, you got to be careful how much of these builds you decide to use. You might just run directly into another squad as well, but that trio will let him go. 19 white is the squad behind Bucka. Gonna take a shot. Yes, they will, and Wemby will pick up one there, and all of a sudden now we're gonna get an instant fight between these two trios. Wemby's stuck between a rock and a hard place, and Ninja's actually stayed back. Wemby's by themselves, but will be able to retreat. And in the meantime, Zyra, Scuffy, and Boogie, though not finding that last elimination, will be able to grab a few extra pieces of loot, you know, get a little bit extra chug going. You got you got what you want. You got rotates with your overdrives. You got double chug jugs. I mean, you're in a pretty beautiful spot, but take a little bit of extra damage there. I definitely don't think that was part of the plan. And for this squad, in case you're wondering where they are currently sitting at number 59. They have had a second place with 16 eliminations. They have had an 8th placement, sorry, with a 13 elimination game, and they're looking to beat that as they've already gotten 9 eliminations. This is already one of their top 3 maps, but if you're going to make the jump into the top 13, they need a win here. They need a top 3. You need something big here. You need these extra eliminations to get to your maximum of 10, which even though they are only 1 away, and they will certainly find that, you know, you got to make sure that you get the placement and still don't play too conservative. You want to try and take out these squads, even if it doesn't give you extra points as well, just to try and make the game a little bit easier. However, Zerez has to be careful, though. If you take a little bit too much damage, now you got to pop one of your chugs, and there's a full grouping of 3 under you that could focus you any minute. Storm coming in will force them all to rotate back. Scuffy is able to use those shock rocks to triple jump their way all the way towards zone. They look to be at a pretty good spot on the backside of zone here, but using this bush for cover, they'll have to try and decide where they want to go next. You can see the ping. They've decided where they want to reside, but there's a lot of squads near who will be taking shots at him, and there you can already see the bullet trails from Kawhi Leonard and that trio. Already down to 11 trios as Wemby will take out Baez. 28 players left as well, and once again, Scuffy and their trio, who currently remain at... Actually, they just jumped to 27 in the meantime. They were sitting at 58, but now with 17 eliminations and a bare minimum top 11, they've actually jumped up to 27 already, so this match is now doubled in importance for this squad here, as they could really use another eliminating squad there. They've guaranteed a top 10 now, and their tally only continues to rise. Big deal for Scuffy, Boogie, and Zero here. Still a lot of other squads, though, who want to find their way into this game. I mean, you saw players like Convex, which their squad is currently sitting at 112. And 1 or 2, I mean, obviously there's only this map and 1 more left for them, but, you know, a top 3, a top 4, a top 5 changes everything for a squad who's stuck down that far right now. So many storylines to stick with. It gets very confusing very quickly. Also, you see a player like Faith as well, who's been very common in front of our screens. They're sitting at 112th as well, or sitting outside the top 100. I'll just say that to make it easier. I'm really curious to know maybe where this Kawhi Leonard grouping is, though. They're currently sitting at 26, so they are actually up just as high as Zyra and MR. So it's going to be very interesting to see how a team fight between those two could go, but we're not there just yet because we're being jumped on by Sean and their trio now. It's Pakar under as well, who's going to be between a lot of steel and a lot of bullets flying past their head, trying to play past the edit. Will be able to win a wall, but not before Pakar's able to get away. A little bit of a whiff there temporarily from Zero, but not before all 3 are able to crash down and clinch a top 9 now. Not only that, but sitting on 12 eliminations. If you're looking for a storyline, you've got it in front of you now, because once again, sitting at number 27 is Zyre, Scuffy, and Boogie. And again, that Kawhi Leonard squad up there, sitting 1 or 2 spots next to him. These two almost directly fighting for what could be the map to send them into the top 13. But who knows what is left between now and then. Also worth mentioning as well that Optics, Alpha, and Viper are sitting at 53. So they are also still in contention, as we'll watch Zero get thrown out. We'll be able to return with the team, though, and trying to find an extra elimination. Got to be careful, though, as Dub gets a cheeky little shoulder shot right there. Not able to do too much with it, though, as Dub will go down at the hands of Kev. Again, that Kawhi Leonard squad just waiting for their moment. They're sitting at number 21. They're the higher squad out of the two right now. I mean, a win here for them would change everything, but Kawhi Leonard goes down. And in 2026, that's a common theme, but man, in Fortnite, it's weird to see. Alpha taking a lot of damage as well. You got Scuff, Boogie, and Zero really looking to even out their chances and really raise them to the roof. They can take out either one of those two squads. Still a lot of eliminations, still a lot of players to be eliminated. We're down to 8 squads now. Zone is small as ever here in the 9th. And it is crunch time in every living sense here in map 5. You'll watch Boogie take out a few. Boogie actually will take out 2 in the meantime, and it'll guarantee them a top 6 now. So all of our contending squads looking to jump wide margins together. But again, there can only be one winner in this map. There can only be one group who jumps ahead. And you're looking to try and get a stab of your share of $1,000. These are the moments that you voted for. These are the moments that you look back on, and you'll take all these small little Ranger pistol picks in the meantime. You'll head tap Max as well, but it looks like that Zupa, Kebab, and Kawhi should be able to find that elimination for their tally. And just like that, we're very quickly getting down to the wire. A legendary hunting rifle will be in the hands of Zero now, and will be immediately dropped for a pistol instead. So they're just going to try and keep on getting this loot down their rotation. They want to keep being able to use all these different options. You'll take out that tree as well, as Kebab will take out the QTE squad, and they'll be knocked out instantly. There's only one more group who's not contending right now, and that's Warren and Swag, which they are currently sitting at 43. So even though they are a contending group, they're not a top 30, top 35 group like the other 3 are right now. It's only a matter of time. Alpha jumps up, but not before Scuff's able to get on the backside. And the backstab of Dreams will save Zero's life, but that storm is dire, but it stops right on the perfect line. Zero with 20 white health could not have gone down at a better spot. However, it is not over just yet, as Boogie and Scuff have already taken high ground, trying to take down Caldo now. But it looks like, once again, that Kawhi Leonard and Kebab and Zupa will be able to take down and get another free kill on the bottom side. We'll see Boogie and this entire group make a move down there now, but I don't think they realize the health advantage that they have. You're looking at 2 squads who have big contention. Dreams, and as Derek, Swag, and Warren all go down, it's now a huge 3v3 against 2 squads. Again, still looking to jump into the top 13. This win could do it. Both teams have so many eliminations, they'll jump on to one another now. Big damage going on to Zero. Scuff goes down. Zero trying to run away now, having to retreat. Boogie has been untouched so far, but not able to get up to the fight in time. Kebab, 25 white, has to be careful. Backside, you shoot the wrong player if you're Boogie, but you still knock down Zupa. In the meantime, still Kebab trying to find one more. An absolutely awkward 5-player, now 2 injured now, just like that. Has it turned into a 1v1? Kawhi Leonard in the clutch. A sentence that's been said before, but again, here in Fortnite, is it expected? 2v1, they flipped the tide completely. Zero, Boogie. How have they found a way into that clutch? 12 eliminations from Boogie. Their tally goes to 21 eliminations on what is by far their best game of the night. They had not gotten a win yet. And instead of only grabbing a win, they do it in pure style. 23 eliminations, a second place with 16 eliminations, 1 more map to go. And they still have room to grow. That is absurd work from those 3. And again, as for the other side of that fight, Obviously, still looking to see where they are. They're going to end up at 21. Or wait, this is... Yes, this should be them. They're going to be at 21. There's their second place. Only got 10 eliminations, so didn't get to make that 75 maximum point happen. But again, they also have a second place. They also have another 60-point game, and really, really have room to grow there. And they've had a good night so far, going second, fourth, fifth, and second, only on 4 maps as well. So a lot to worry about, a lot to focus on as we get deeper and deeper into the night. Another refresh on where the score stands. Your top 13 will qualify to finals. Now, there's a few squads who I would not argue, I would tell you, are for sure locked in. I mean, you're looking at a grouping like Liam, Void, and Nut who have gone absolutely nuclear tonight and are sitting at 225 points with 109 eliminations. That is just disgusting from them. Not to mention as well, you want to keep going down the line. How about Vexy, Carbone, and Doxy sitting at 3 wins and also having maximum points in that one? And those are the only 2 squads with max points, as Zertic, Static, and Air, who we've seen many, many times, have almost maxed it out. Still looking for a win with a few extra eliminations, but we'll see what they have left. But when you get down towards the cutoff, you have a roster like Oliver, Liam, and Higgs, which if they don't make it would be an upset, would be a shock by far tonight. But there are, again, so many talented rosters. Mellow and Bodify. Here's Zyre, Scuff, and Boogie. And even going further down, other rosters that we recognize. I mean, there's Feed, there's Jay Dunks, Ollie Otter, who's representing XP League, and actually is in a spot to very much qualify if they can get another big game, another big map. There's Evolved, Cole, and Commander as well. There's Crazy's Trio. There's Fire Mask. I mean, we've been following these rosters so closely. And now, without any shred of doubt, it all comes down to one more map, 13 spots, and $1,000 on the line on Sunday, and a lot of fireworks and a lot of festivities in front of us, both in the map, but also outside this weekend for July 4th as well. My name is DJ TJ. When we come back, we've got one more map to find our top 13. Don't go anywhere. between 13 slots and $1,000. And as you will recognize, there will be many of some of your biggest faces in the game competing for these last few spots. I mean, again, you've got people like Oliver and Higgs together. You've got right here in front of us Tittles and Taki and Rippas, who we have actually not gotten to follow for too much of the night, but they are currently sitting, if my website will work with me. I'm trying to double check and see where they are right now, but it's bugging just a little bit, so we might have to check on that later. But regardless, many semi and real big professionals have found their way into this map right here. We started with 1,200 plus players, and we have now gotten all the way down to some of the last few hundred teams who have decided to stick around all night. We started at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. It is just eclipsed 10 p.m. Eastern Time as one of the biggest squads to worry about today in Zero and Scuff have gone down. Boogie is going to be able to get a revive, but not sure what happened to these two, as this was the roster that we just saw go and find their way into a beautiful game where they capped it off with a 23 elimination win. Their worst placement, I guess their third worst placement, because they're trying to get their third best game. They need to beat an 8th place with 13 eliminations with 40 total points. That's what they're looking to try and beat. And if you're wondering where they're sitting on the scoreboard, they're sitting at 17th. This is what movie makers write. This is what script writers do. But we have absolutely not been following it tonight. We started a little late. We've been watching multiple games, and now that we're here in the end, we're here on our final map, I have not only gotten the replay codes for all of the lobbies, but we're going to try and watch a lot of the end games in a row before we talk about who won. And in the meantime, Scuff has actually gone down and out. I have no idea if Scuff DC'd or what, but that's huge for those two now. As now Boogie and Zero, with everything on the line, will be left alone. So definitely something to keep an eye on there as we follow here with Josh and Skooky, who are currently sitting at 208. So unfortunately, they are eliminated from making it to Sunday, but obviously still looking to make a splash. We got Green Alien and their team, which, again, some people's Unite accounts are not the same as their main accounts. Polo, yeah, no, this is correct. Yeah, Polo Face, Saf, and Green Alien, which is... that is Pumps. They're sitting at 13th right now, and they are looking to beat a 3rd place and a 4th place with 10 and 13 eliminations respectively. So their bar pretty high as well. So we're going to try to take out Chris, who will be the first of hopefully many if you're a fan of this trio, as they already found their way onto 3. Big headshot there, and just a little bit of SMGMO will do the rest of the work. And now you will see some other squads immediately try to third party, and here they come. You can already see them on the map, absolutely busting their way in. Polo has to be careful, but does have teammates to play off of, as Saf will be able to hold a counter and really hold a cross, I should probably say. But moving like a SWAT team in Fortnite won't do all of the tricks, as it looks like that other squad might potentially back out. Nothing confirmed yet, though. As don't mind the glitch of the double maps and the double bars and the double health. Don't mind all that. We're just gonna roll through it. It's a replay bug. But we've got too much action for me to try and quit and restart it. So we are gonna roll with it. And we're gonna try and continue to keep tabs on as many rosters as possible. Again, Saf, Polo, and Green looking to keep their spot in the top 13, but also guarantee it. And again, these eliminations will do the trick and then some. They are sitting directly on number 13. Big story to follow there. Hopping over to Oreo, Noxtron, and Jam. They're currently sitting at 105th, so unfortunately for them, they are, by math, they are knocked out of the top 13. We will still obviously keep a close eye and see what they can do. Looking over at Taki and Rippas and Tittles, we We're trying to find them earlier. Here they are. They're at number 75. They have 119 points, which means that for them to get into the top 13, they basically have to win. 13 is sitting at 187, so do quick math, right? 119 plus 75, which is the quote-unquote maximum. That puts you at 194, considering those rosters that you'd have to beat wouldn't be able to rise any further. So pretty tough spot. I don't think they're eliminated 100%, but it's looking pretty tough for them to get into it, but we'll keep a close eye on them. And how about this? The roster who got so close, but yet was so far this past game. Pounda, Kawhi, Zupa, they got so close last time around, but just got ever so slightly isolated. They're sitting at number 25, which means they're looking to beat a 4th place with 2 eliminations, and that was 46 points. Their other 2 games were 2nd place with 8 eliminations and another 2nd place with 10 eliminations. So they are in a very, very probable spot if they can grab another top 3 with a few eliminations, which right now they have 0, and we're already down because, again, we're getting down to our last few lobbies worth. We're only down to 18 players already, and we're only on the 3rd zone. So have to be overly careful. You have to be overly cautious with how you decide to play it out from here. I am actually curious to see. We can't really hop forward too much, but we'll try to. See if we can get a little more live. Well, in good news, it looks like we fixed the little bug in the bottom, even though the storms are bugged, so we'll take that. However, Polo, Green Alien, and Safs are looking to once again hold on to their spot and raise the bar to get into the top 13. They can do it by taking out one of the contending squads right here, right now, with Kebab stuck between Green Alien and Polo Face, and just barely get away there, but again, just running through. They do spot Green Alien, could potentially get a shot here. Green Alien doesn't see Kebab and doesn't throw a shot over there. That's big in terms of the missed opportunity. However, Zupa does immediately go down. Kawhi is stuck on the other side of the fence, and Saf will use that opportunity to pounce. Kebab is getting rushed onto as well. Kawhi goes down. It's just down to Kebab. 36 white health to try and keep the dream alive of staying, or getting in the top 13, excuse me. 36 white health. It's a few pistol shots from Doom. We'll be able to build a little bit in the meantime, but are you delaying the inevitable? You know Polo Face and that entire trio, again, they're looking to beat a very high bar, which was a top 3 or a top 4 with a decent amount of eliminations. And they could start it off right here, right now. They've already got up to 12. They're looking for number 13. This type of performance would be absolutely on par to push them through into the final. And Ripa's and that trio has gone down in the meantime as well. So even more recognizable faces falling away. Kebab stuck between a lot of wood, and that shotgun goes too quick, and you will not be able to counter it next to a Ranger pistol. So, just like that, you lose that out, and unfortunately we say goodbye to a very, very talented squad. In the meantime, some other groups who were eliminated but are still trying to find their way involved. Well, Boogie and Zero not eliminated at all. They're just, unfortunately for them, in a 2v100. Is what it feels like with their odds. They're going to go ahead and continue to rotate. Polo, Saf, and Green will hear that, but have no reason to act on it. And it looks like that we're looking at a lot of our big contenders already. Temp has gone down, but will be revived by Visto after they're able to survive their gunfight. But I do believe they are eliminated in the meantime as well. And I really can't check because, again, some people's names in Unite are different than their epics. So I do not know where they're at. Again, another group that we talked about earlier. They are eliminated by math. So Visto, Scoo, Zero, and Boogie not eliminated by math. Sitting in the top 25, I do believe. But again, needing a miracle, if we're being really honest. And I think Polo, Saf, and Green Alien are looking at what is a gift, really, for them. As they'll bring the tally down to 9 total players and already guarantee themselves a top 5. And looking once again at what they're trying to beat, they have already guaranteed themselves a top 5, and they've already gathered if my math is correct. They've already gathered 15 eliminations, so they've already made this their third best game, which means they have now raised the bar. But they're not guaranteed into the top 13 just yet. They're now sitting at number 14, even though they've raised the bar. So have some other squads ahead of them. Nothing guaranteed at all. Leahy's squad and Sniper Dude have actually found a way to jump up here during the last map. They're actually sitting at number 9 overall. See, there's some other recognizable groups. It looks like in terms of big streamers, I mean, Higgs, Liam, and Oliver have actually not finished their 6th map yet, but they are 1 point behind this trio of Polo, Saf, and Green Alien right now. So I'll try and I'll keep a very close eye on their stream and see if maybe things are going a little bit better for them. That's the squad to watch out for, who could potentially knock Polo Face, Saf, and Green Alien out if they have a better performance, but still a long way from finding that out. And unfortunately, through the Unite link, it looks like that I won't be able to catch a lot of the Twitch streams because the event is technically over because it was supposed to end at 10, but we're running a little bit over time here. But Green Alien has actually gone down. Got to be careful here how you play this. Temp, however, cannot win a 3v1. And so even though you take a lot of damage, there is also a little bit of a refresh and heals to gather as Polo, Saf, and Green Alien have now found their way into a 18 elimination game. This is on par to potentially be their best of the night and would almost surely guarantee them a spot in the top 3 when it's all, or top 13, excuse me, when it's all said and done. They are still sitting at number 14 on the leaderboard, so keep a very close eye on them. But we're only looking at 8 other people, so here's the other 3. That brings our tally to 6, and then guess who your last 2 are? It's Boogie and Zero, who this could be one of the saddest stories of the night. I mean, Boogie and Zero and Zaire were sitting at number 18 coming into this game. And they lost Zaire, or sorry, they lost Scuffy. They lost him early to what I believe was a disconnect, or I believe there was an error with fall damage, and it happened twice, so it was an insta-kill with no chance to revive. So I'm not exactly sure kind of what happened there, but again, no shocker that you're going to see this Polo Face-led squad try and end things right now. They spot Boogie and Zero, and this right here will be the nail in the coffin for these two. Even with the top 2 with no eliminations, I think they have a very, very small chance at getting in the top 13, but they would have to try and take down Polo, Saf, and Green Alien, who are going to be gatekeeping one of those spots here if they're able to win. Joshua goes down in the meantime as well. It's a tough one to lose for the other trios involved. Zero takes a lot of damage on the shield. Zor goes down as well, so we're potentially looking at almost calling game here. If Polo Face and this entire trio are able to find their way through, they'll make their way down onto Zero, but won't be able to find much more, though, so they're going to turn their heads over towards Boogie, and with all this focus and all this ammo, they're going to have plenty of ability to take out these builds. Boogie running for their life and just barely get away, but instead, Green Alien flanks around and gets Zero, knocks him out completely, which means for Boogie, that's all that stands between any hopes and dreams. Will take down Polo, though, so it's not guaranteed to be over, but Boogie's got to heal quick. There will be enough time, though, because Green Alien and Sav aren't close enough, and they actually have to rotate out. So just like that, Boogie has given the squad a chance. Now, because of that kill, they have now made this game one of their best 3. But the issue is they only have 49 points in this game so far because it's the top 3 with 1 elimination. They're sitting at 13 exactly right now. However, there is still a very obvious way that this game could go. And that's if the other trio contending with Saf now leading the helm could call a game right here. They're sitting at 7 right now. They've almost guaranteed their way in, but taking out Boogie right here, right now, could for certain guarantee it. But Boogie, if Boogie can get a top 2 here, that would be huge. But Scoo is very far away from this battle right now, and I don't think will be tested too much. It's going to be a 2v1. It would be generational if Boogie could pull this out. Almost gets boxed, was able to slip out just in time, fighting for their life. Saf jumps down. The shotgun shell is missed. It's all in the water. Doesn't even find a clipping of the haircut of this other squad. That's another whiff on the shotgun shell. It always gets awkward playing through the water because of the way the builds work, because of the way that your player has to move in the water, and Saf will take advantage of too many angles and too much to worry about, and the pressure does get to Boogie eventually, as Green Alien and Saf will Boogie in their own right and taunt, as now it's a 2v1 against a player who has already been eliminated. So Boogie, Zyre, and Scuff, as of right now, because of that placement being a top 3, instead of a top 2, they sit at 188 points. They sit at 15th, which unfortunately for them, no matter what happens, does eliminate Boogie and Zyre, even though they almost made it happen on a 2v1 million, it felt like. So that one absolutely stinks for those two, as Scoo will actually take a shot onto Green Alien and Saf in the meantime, who almost have the game wrapped up in a bow for him. Again, looking to put an absolute exclamation mark on their night so far, and they are on pace to find their second win of the night right here, right now. Scoo didn't stand a chance, and down he goes, and Saf and Polo, even without Green Alien, or sorry, Saf and Green Alien without Polo, make it happen. 21 eliminations and a win. That right there, their second best game of the night, behind their first place with 22 eliminations. So, you know, comparing apples to apples there at the end of the day, and that right there will guarantee them a spot in the top 13 as it stands right here, right now. We'll hop into some of these other replay files, and we'll hop into the post game to see where they finished out, because we are going to give it a second to let all the stats get sorted and make sure that whenever I go to show everybody the scoreboard that we are confirmed done for the night. So let's check out another map 6 game here, and we'll see who exactly is left to go, and I'll also double check to see if the results have been finalized, just in case. It does seem like a few games are still finishing out. In fact, it looks like there is one game still finishing out. So what we can do is I can actually find this game because of our lovely admin team, courtesy of Dignitas. Shout out Brown for getting this my way. We can actually watch and spectate the last game of the night. So that's exactly what we are going to do. And then we will know for certain what is left. So here we go. One more game between our top 13 and a shot at $1,000 on Sunday. We're going to skip forward towards the end game, and we'll try and get a very good understanding of where some of these last squads are. Based on the math, it looks like that a lot of our top 5 and a lot of our top 8 have actually been in this lobby. We're going to double check, and we'll find that out once we get settled into this one, to be certain. So on that note, we can now skip forward towards the end of this, or towards what I believe is going to be the end of this game. And now, without further ado, we can lock into the end of the day, our last match of the entire night. And a lot of familiar faces who are out of contention, like Dub here, which I believe their squad has been eliminated. Yes, Dub is still playing in this game, so technically not eliminated fully, but they would have to win to get in contention. They're sitting at 141 points right now. And down a player as well without Max. I'll hop on to some of these other squads as well. This current grouping of Cozy, Selfie, and Glees, they're sitting at 154 points overall, which is number 38, which means for them as well, they need a win. Keep hopping around and checking in the meantime as Leahy's group does go down. I'm not sure if Leahy and them are actually guaranteed or not. I'll try and check in. But it looks like that Leahy and Mirik and Sniper Dude, they are actually sitting directly on 13. So big deal for them to potentially lose a few bodies here. And they do, it's just Sniper Dude. So there is now 3 squads we've just followed who need a win to survive. Holly will take down Sniper Dude, though, and that will take him out completely. Looking at the scoreboard, that leaves Sniper Dude, Leahy, and Mikrik at the 13th spot exactly. That game at the end was not their third best by only 2 points. That's the fine margins of a game like this. Checking on this squad with Kitsu and Gino, they're sitting at 10, or Genos, excuse me. Chaos, Kit, and Gino, they're sitting at number 10 right now, so looking to defend any other squads from potentially coming back and calling game here and forcing them out. already down to 4 squads, and there goes Dub and Matt Pack, and also they'll find Flow for free in the meantime, so 2 of probably some of the best groups to go down right now for this squad. Got a player like Roxy down there who is sitting at 43rd right now with 148 points, which means they would have to win to have a chance as well. So basically, whoever wins this is almost guaranteed into the top 13, but the group that should be guaranteed and needs to defend all these other squads is Chaos, Kitsu, and Gino. Game is in their hands right now as Gino will try to take out Droxy, who's just stuck between a step and the back wall. I mean, just wasn't able to move there. Not sure what happened, but hey, a free kill is a free kill, and now all of a sudden, you're looking at only 3 squads and 6 people remaining, which means in the 3v2v1, I do believe, but you'll absolutely run down all 3 instead. Selfie goes down to Storm. Darcy and Khan fall at the hands of Gino, who puts an exclamation mark on their run and will push them not just into a guaranteed top 13 spot, but with their best game of the entire night. They clinch number 10. Beautiful way to end the night and to call game, and a big congratulations to those 3 who have made their way through. And now what we can do is, because here we are now done with our last game, I can take that out, and now we can talk about who actually made it through the night. So on that note, I can take off the epic music, I can breathe a little bit, you know, I can take the collar off, and now we can reflect on the night that we've had. So, on that note, let's take a look at who made it through. Again, look at the amount of games played tonight. We are so grateful for everyone who decided to spend their July 4th weekend with us, and we are even more excited to continue on as the weekend goes and we get into Sunday. So again, for a quick reminder, if you wanted to win big tonight, you needed to grab what realistically is a top 3 or a top 5 that gets you above the 40 points a game threshold that almost all of these top 13 squads basically got per game, was over 40 points. Obviously, when it gets down here, we'll talk about it in a second. But before I dive into that, Ollie Otter, representing XP League Franklin alongside Zorf and Plays with 2 wins and a 2nd place, have found their way into the 7th overall spot. That is insane. That's the only XP League Franklin player to make their way into the top 13. So that right there is a high school and middle school age kid, by the way. So for reference, huge deal that Ollie was able to find their way in. Now, there were a few squads tonight who were absolutely untouched. You're staring at them right here. Liam, Nut, and Void, Realize, Afonso, Vlex, Doxy, Vexy, Carbone, Zertix, Airs, and Static. Those 4 basically did not move the entire night, if we're being really honest. Barney, Dylan City, Cyclops, Swift Light, Plays, Ollie Otter, Zorf will round out your top 7, and then a huge last few games. Polo Face, Pumps, and Saf, they get their last game queue of Dreams, where they were able to absolutely destroy, and they get their 2nd best game of the night, one of the best games of the night, period, with 21 eliminations. I mean, even some of our best squads, 29, 28, 24, 17, 13, 19. I mean, one of the best games, period, tonight from any trio. I mean, other than, obviously, not Liam and Void, who had a night of their own. So, continuing down, Raikou, Tub, and Plasma. We didn't get to follow them tonight, but had a great showing. Then, obviously, we just saw Gino, Chaos, and Kit have a dream queue at the end, and they rolled through many contending rosters to guarantee a spot at number 10. And then as we get to our narrow spots fighting for that 13th spot, we have a heartbreaker for the 13th and 14th teams, but DDG, Jurassic Park, Kiffy, Rexo, Kian, which we watched that trio go to work, and they find their way just barely involved. Right here, a tie. Yes, a tie for 13th and 14th. And the team with the most eliminations was Khan, Two Fly, and Darcy, who will guarantee themselves, because of that elimination tiebreaker, with also a 34 elimination first place. Take back everything I said about best game of the night. 34 elimination first place to clinch a spot in the top 13 in your last 2 maps tonight. That is absurd from those two, and no wonder they have 86 eliminations. That is crazy. Second highest elimination total in the top 13. As for rosters who got all the eliminations in the world but couldn't make it happen, you look at Mirops, Ruin, and Quick, who we watched, and a huge shock here as Higgs, Liam, and Oliver. A 30-kill game, 4th place. A 20-kill game, 2nd place. A 24-kill game, 2nd place. And 2 big heartbreakers with a 12-kill, 8th place, and an 18-kill, 6th place. Those absolutely hurt. And speaking of a nightmare / heartbreaking kind of night, Zyre, Boogie, and Scuffy, again, had a chance there at the end, but you lose Zyre, or you lose Scuff early by a disconnect or whatever it seemed. It was very, very odd. And because of that, you lose that opportunity to really be aggressive. You have to be super, super careful. You don't get 2nd place because the solo player hid better, and then you get stuck with a 3rd, whereas a 2nd place would have, I mean, you know, it would have done a lot more. I mean, we're talking about a game where they only end up getting 49 points, where if they would have gotten 2nd place, takedown elimination, they would have gotten 55 points. And even though it wouldn't have been enough to qualify, it would have been close. It would not have been enough to get to 196, but it would have been right up here, 15 and 16. Even though it wasn't enough, if you had your full trio, the argument is there. They absolutely could have made it. But again, my big shock of the night, I think, is easily Oliver, Liam, and Higgs not making it. But a lot of other familiar names in the face. Riker, another XP League Franklin representative, finishing at 23rd. We watched players like Burke, Cash, and Perk didn't find their way through. Let's see who else is still left here. Here's Selfie, Cleese, and Cozy, who we just witnessed. They got one of their best games of the night, but not enough. Evolved, Cole, and Commander, a team who was really rolling towards the end there. But again, 8 eliminations, 10. No eliminations, 10th. 6 eliminations, 7th. I mean, really got off to a perfect start, including a max point 1st place here, but things just couldn't go their way for the rest of the night. So that right there was about the culmination of almost all of our storylines for tonight. And again, what an absolute pleasure it has been to present all of this action to you. I mean, for those of you who, again, do not know me, it is a pleasure to have you tonight on the XP League Franklin stream. My name is DJ TJ, and in case you're a little curious as to what XP League Franklin is, I'm so glad that you asked, and I will tell you right now. XP League Franklin, and we've said it multiple times throughout the broadcast, but just to get one more before we go. XP League Franklin is a basically training network for high school, middle school age students. I mean, think about a prep academy for gamers. This is the culmination of some of the best kids in the nation, and even some who have started playing worldwide, involved in this XP League Franklin, Tennessee circuit, where they've combined all of this national talent. They play against each other, they play in national leagues, and we're talking about a dynasty across some of the best when you look at who's the future of esports. They're going to come out of XP League Franklin. I don't need to tell you what DIGNITAS FORTNITE is, but we are very, very thankful for their squad and what they've done tonight. Nate and Brown have been absolutely perfect in running all of these games. I mean, again, look at how many games were run tonight. I mean, this right here is just plain crazy. They were running all of this on the back end, and they absolutely killed it tonight. So a big, big congratulations to the admin team, but also this whole event would not happen without DIGNITAS, and we're very thankful for their support alongside XP League Franklin's financial support to make this $1,000 event happen. So what does that mean for the future? Well, we now have our top 13, which means that they will go against the best 4 trios out of XP League and 15 invited pro trios, and all that you're looking to do is get the top 15 out of your 32 trios. You're gonna get top 15. That'll be placement for earnings. So that's the lucky number. You gotta be top 15 going into Sunday's grand finals. But without further ado, I think I've yapped enough. I think I've set the scene enough, but we are so, again, very grateful and thankful for all these players making the time over July 4th weekend to come and compete, and I cannot wait to see you all again on Sunday for the grand finals. So for one last time before Sunday, my name is DJ TJ. It's been DIGNITAS FORTNITE. It's been XP League Franklin, Tennessee. We thank you, we love you, and good night.